So this is my Graco Prostep. In this video I'm going to show you how to clean it out. I've currently got Panasari Aqua running through it, which is an external paint. So as you can see, the pump arm's in there, the prime arm's in there as well. So the first thing that I'm going to do when I start cleaning it out is I'm going to put the pump arm in some water and keep the prime arm in the paint, because what's going to happen is I'm going to prime it. It's going to prime the leftover paint that's in the machine through the prime arm until I start seeing water again. Then I'm going to switch the prime arm into the water and let it run with some clean water for a couple of minutes. Okay, so I've currently got this lever down, which means it's in prime. When you want it to start spraying, you turn it to the side and it starts pumping the paint through the hose. So I've got it on prime. There's a switch on the back, which I'm going to switch on in a second. Like I said, so this arm, the pump arm, is now in clean water. The prime arm is aiming over the paint. What will happen is we'll pump through all the paint that's left over. It will start getting a bit runnier, which will then turn into water. Then I'll switch into the water bucket and I'll just run some water through the machine for a couple of minutes. Okay, so at this point it's going to be worth cleaning off both the pump arm and the hose prime arm, and just make sure there's no leftover paint on there, because as you're storing it you don't want it to dry with solid paint on it. Okay, so what you can do as well is this little guard twists off and it lets you clean inside as well. Okay, so now that we know that the machine has got water running through it, we're now going to switch the prime to pump, and we're going to clean out the hose and the tip and the gun at the same time. Okay, so get yourself a bucket or an area that you can spray into, which doesn't make a mess or you don't mind cleaning up afterwards. So obviously we've got it in pump prime, like I said. We're going to switch on the back. We're going to turn the lever to pump. This is going to take a couple of seconds to engage, and it will start filling up the hose with water. Obviously there's paint through there at the moment, so it'll fill it up with water. We'll start spraying and it will spray all of the leftover paint out of the hose. And like I said, you can spray this back into the paint bucket to save the paint, but I don't need to save this paint, so I'm just going to spray it into the corner of my spray booth, which will then get collected by dust, and it will go into a solid and I can chuck it away. So once all the paint's sprayed out, it will obviously start spraying water. Run that for a couple of minutes and then your hose and your tips should be nice and clean. You can go to the extra mile and run something like thinners through it, and it will really deteriorate any leftover paint that's in there, but for me I can just run water through it and I know that my gun, hose, machine is going to be safe till the next time I use it. Okay, so now the hose is primed, ready to spray. So now we're just going to spray the rest of the paint out and wait for the water to come through. It's sometimes worth changing the tip round as well, just to clear any blockages and clean the tip out backwards. So as a note as well, as you can hear, the pump in my Graco is currently working to clear all the paint out. There's a little oil tub here which carries in there, and just at the front here there's a little opening where you can see the pump working up and down. So in this hole here, you'll see once I start spraying, I don't know if you'll be able to see it properly, but the pump will be moving up and down. So that noise you hear is do 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 do. That's the pump moving up and down. So you just get your bottle, squirt some oil in there. I tend to do this every single time that I use my sprayer. Doesn't matter if it overflows because you'd rather have more oil than less. and it just maintains your sprayer and keeps it all lubed nicely. Okay, so as you just saw, we're now spraying pretty much water. There will still be a bit of paint running through, and that's why you need to run it for a few more minutes just to make sure that all of the paint comes out. And like I said, it is much more efficient and cleaner to do this into a bucket, and it will stop any overspray or anything like that. But I don't need to, purely because I've got my workshop and I can clean it up that way anyway. Okay, so that's how I clean out my sprayer. Now it's obviously filled up with water. What we can do is we can take off the gun, take off the hose at both ends, empty out the hose by blowing out of it or just tipping it up so the water comes out, and then you know it's all dry, and we'll move on to cleaning the filter. Okay, so in regards to the tools you need for your Airless, 2 adjustable wrenches, that's all I carry with mine. 2 because there's 2 nuts that you need to hold on to when you're taking off the gun. Obviously it would be better with 1, but 2 is what you need. Otherwise what happens is when you try and take it off, the gun's designed to turn, so you can't get a good grip on it. So you need a wrench on the top nut, so a wrench adjustable spanner, a wrench obviously on the bottom one. Make sure that your sprayer before you turn it off is on prime and not on pump, because the hose will stay pressurised and you will have an explosion of paint. Okay, so the gun's off. Now, like I said, the hose is going to be full of water, so you can empty that out in a minute. So in regards to getting to the filter, there's a small nut under the handle which you need to get hold of. Twist that, and what happens is at the handle base there starts unscrewing. Now I should have taken this off, which is the handle, and then what you can do is start twisting it, and it comes away from the gun, and then that is my nice and dirty filter. This is why you need to clean them out pretty much every time you use them. You can obviously clean out the filter and put it back in, or you can replace it with a new filter, and that's what I'm going to do today. Okay, so got my tip. The gun is all taken apart. Soak it in warm water to clean it out. It's a great thing to do every now and then. So the tip, you'll have a longer end and a stubbier end. Stubbier end goes in the top, and it should just wedge in like that, and then the gun goes back on. So if you're spraying something like Santex, you really want a thicker one, and obviously you can go as fine the paint goes, if that makes sense. So with the filter back in the handle now, it just slots into the top of the gun, and you put the handle back on. We're going to put everything back together, nice and easy. Tip guard comes back on. Now, like I said, you can soak all this stuff in thinners, cellulose thinners, which will clean everything really well. But I mean, I'm not going to this time. So then, like I said, you can empty the hose out, tip it all the way up, and empty all the water out. Take it off at the mains, which I'm not going to do because I'm going to use my sprayer tomorrow. But yeah, so that's the main way I clean it out. Warm soapy water, you can spray through it. Cellulose thinner, spray through it. All the stuff like this on the handle and stuff comes off with thinners or a blade. I'm just too lazy to clean it off. It doesn't affect the actual sprayer, it's just a bit of laziness. So yeah, any questions, let me know. What sprayers have you got? What sprayers are you looking at buying? Tell me, because I want to know. I want to know your experience with those sprayers. Like I said, this is the Graco Prostep. And I've also got the Wagner Plus Airless sprayer. This is my favourite by far. If I could afford a bigger sprayer, I probably would get one, because it gives you so many more options. For instance, using the ST Max, you can spray plaster and stuff. But I'm happy with this at the moment. This does the job for me. Yeah. So thanks for watching the video. try and subscribe if you can, that would be great. Like the video, comment away, any questions let me know.